Your business is not being recommended by AI, that's going to be even bigger than Google Ads or Google ranking. What are your thoughts on that?
People are crazy. And I know the backstory on a lot of why these people are going and posting these things is because they were in the agency space, or they were in the coaching space, or they were in all of these other spaces, and they saw a quicker opportunity for cash. I thought my initial post on social media saying, hey, I'm going full-time doing this was just going to bring all of the clients. And it obviously brought none. I've been posting every single day, sometimes twice a day on Facebook, obviously Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. I have my podcast. I guest on podcasts. I speak at events. You have to connect with your ideal client, the business owner, for example, for me. You have to do that by sharing more than just what makes your business good. You have to share you. Forcing something that doesn't need to be forced is probably the biggest lesson. A lot of times we think that we're not capable of something, that we have this self-doubt or we have this imposter syndrome, and we think that if we just go do this with somebody else, everything is going to get better. Trust your gut. I didn't trust my gut.
This episode is brought to you by Go High Level. If you're a business owner who's tired of duct taping together 5 different platforms just to run your company, this is your solution. CRM, funnels, website, email, text marketing, automations, memberships, landing pages, payments, all in one place. When I moved everything over, I was able to cancel multiple subscriptions and save over $1,000 a month. And memberships start at only $97. If you run multiple businesses, well, they got you covered there too. High performance requires clean systems, visibility, and control. Go High Level gives you the infrastructure to scale without the chaos. Grab your 30-day free trial using the link in the show notes. Well, welcome back to another episode of Keep Rising with Kristy Kuhl. If you are a business owner or you want to be, this episode is for you. My guest today is Adam McChesney, an expert in all things digital marketing, SEO, and personal branding. Adam, welcome to the show.
Kristy, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, it is a pleasure to have you. I have been, I think I came across you, what was that now, 18 months ago? And I really appreciate the way that you've built your business. I appreciate who you are as a human being. What you see is what you get. I can tell that truth and authenticity is very, very important to you. And I just appreciate you saying yes. I know you're very busy building an agency.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome watching you do everything you do as well. So when you asked me, I said, let's do it.
Yes, let's roll. Now, you and I have something in common. We both were in the medical device sales industry. And I just thinking about myself being in medical device sales and my transition. I mean, I'm kind of doing the same thing, but different audience, right? I'm still coaching, I'm still leading, I'm still speaking, I'm in front of rooms, but you decided to go in a totally different direction into digital marketing and start a digital marketing agency. How did you land there?
Yeah. So, and I was actually doing a podcast in person today at my office, and we were going back and forth, and he's like, man, I was in medical device sales. You were in medical device sales. Like, what was your story? Right. And so I was like, yeah, it was 2018. I was selling CPAP equipment and devices, masks, ventilators before they were popular in the pandemic. And I was sitting in a hotel room. I had been a year promoted in my new role. And I was sitting in a hotel room in Kansas City, Missouri. And I was like, I'm making good money now. I'm 27 years old. Like, this is great, but there's got to be something more to life than just money and having to travel all over the country in order to make this money. So I typed into Google how to make money online. I got targeted by an ad on Facebook that essentially sold me the idea or the dream that I could own a bunch of websites and sell the leads and be a digital landlord. So I bought that course. 2018, from 2018 to 2020, I built about 200 websites that I essentially owned, was able to do case studies on. I put all the money into them, and then I would flip the websites if they were generating enough revenue for people just to say, hey, why don't you buy this off my hands? I would sell the leads either on a per lead commission deal or like a monthly flat rate. So I had this 200 website case study essentially ready to go. And then the pandemic happened. My goal was to leave ResMed at the end of 2020, and it allowed me to do it through the pandemic in the middle of 2020. So that's actually how it happened. I was just looking for a way in a vehicle, and I got targeted by an ad.
Did that course teach you all of that? Like how to sell the leads, how to flip it, where to find these people that may want to buy these websites?
Yeah, so it's a great question because there was over 7,000 people, actually probably close to 10,000 people.
Because that'd be one hell of a course if that did all that for you.
That course.
Yeah.
It didn't, it taught mostly the SEO aspect.
Okay.
Like it ended up teaching a little bit on the sales side, very little on how to run the business. And that's where I think I thrived. And I was in Phoenix last week speaking at an SEO event with like 150 agency owners. And there's so many amazing SEO people, they're just not great business people. So I was kind of able to take my medical device sales background. I've learned a lot in business over the years and kind of couple that with being good at SEO, like being really, really good at SEO, but more so finding the opportunities in certain markets and certain industries. So I'd say like I didn't have the SEO background or expertise until that course, obviously, but I was able to leverage my skill set of sales and business throughout the years.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so then you started your first business. Did you start it by yourself?
Yeah. So I started my first agency technically on the side in 2018. When I went full time in 2020, I did it on my own for about 9 months. I then bought into a franchise to be a digital marketing agency under their franchise umbrella. So I did that for 2 years. I became a partner on the franchisor side, did that for about 9 months, and it did not go well. So two of the three of us that were in the partnership ended up asking out, had to go through a whole little legal battle and lawsuit. So dealt with that for most of 2024. And so didn't really run an agency until the end of 24 again. And we relaunched our agency in October under the Builders of Authority brand. So now it's just me that owns that.
What did you do during the time when you had a non-compete?
Yeah. So I had launched Builders of Authority actually while I was at this other agency because both of my other partners had kind of these side things that they were doing too. And I'm like, hey, if they're doing it, I'm doing it. And I started speaking on stages back in 2021 about personal branding. And so for 2 years, people were like, hey, Adam, do you have a course? Do you have a mastermind? Can I learn personal branding from you? Because clearly your agency is growing because of you posting content on social media. And so for 2 years, I said no. And then in November of 2023, I officially launched Builders of Authority. So for most of 2024, it was just group mastermind coaching on personal branding. And then I was coaching one-to-one about 10 people on personal branding. And then I had some agency clients where they were running a digital marketing agency and I was essentially their business coach.
Yeah. So talk to me about building a personal brand. If you were going to give advice to somebody, does it matter the industry if you're building a personal brand?
Everybody needs a personal brand.
Yeah. So does it devalue like building a personal brand? Like, some of these people I see they're sharing a lot of their personal life or they're being funny or it's skits or whatever. Do you feel like that? Does anybody have to be careful about doing any of that stuff online?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's pros and cons to whatever angle you want to take on it. The reason why I started doing it was back in 2020 when I went full time in medical device sales. I had basically 3 competitors. And because of the insurance process there, like you have to go through one of those 3 companies in order to get paid back, right? Whether you're the durable medical equipment company or you're the patient. So yes, I had a book of business and I had to cold call and I had to upsell and cross sell and grow my book of business. But I was known for the company. And then I had to build like Adam McChesney as like the go-to guy behind that. Mm-hmm. Well, when I went full-time in digital marketing, even in my office space, it's a shared office space right now, like there's 5 digital marketers that are in this building. So like I went from 3 and basically in the country to like 5 on every corner. So my first month after being a medical device sales rep with a $25 million a year quota, I sold $0 in new revenue for our agency in July 2020. So I was like, oh my gosh, I just left this job with great security, great benefits, a great company to essentially sell $0.
And how were you attempting to get leads, to get your clients when you came up with the 0 that first month?
So I started posting a little bit on social media, but not a lot. Mm-hmm. I started to go to some in-person networking events. There was a few that were still popping up here and there, even in the pandemic. But I honestly didn't really do a whole lot. Like I thought my initial post of me on social media saying, hey, I'm going full-time doing this was just going to bring all of the clients. And it obviously brought none. So in August, I saw a Facebook post that was like, hey, we have some openings in our mastermind. We do some in-person events. And I had traveled all over the country for medical sales. So I'm like, hey, I kind of want in-person stuff right now because of the pandemic. I also am intrigued by learning how to generate leads off social media for myself. So I invested in that course and it started to teach me personal branding. And so for the last almost 6 years now, I've been posting every single day, sometimes twice a day on Facebook, obviously Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. I have my podcast. I guest on podcasts. I speak at events. So it kind of made me realize like I have to go do this. But the course and the mastermind itself taught you can't just go be another marketer. Like you can't just tell people, hey, here's a screenshot of some awesome results that we got and that be like your only pitch. You have to connect with your ideal client, the business owner, for example, for me in the contracting and home services space. You have to do that by sharing more than just what makes your business good. You have to share you. And so that was the thought process. And within 90 days, I signed up my first client who's still a client to this day. That came literally from personal branding and social media. And ever since then, I've been hooked.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does that look like right now for you? How often I know you have a team behind you now, but when you first started, It was just you. How often are you posting and what types of things do you post?
Yeah. So I post twice a day on Facebook, Monday through Friday, once on each of those platforms over the weekend. And then we post about 3 to 4 times a week on LinkedIn and 3 to 4 times a week on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And then one long form YouTube video. And then our podcast goes out every Thursday. So that's where we're at right now. But for the first year, all I did was Facebook.
Yeah.
So I just got really, really good at Facebook because still to this day, about 80 to 85% of our leads come through my Facebook, which is a blessing and a curse. But with that, it's 80% has nothing to do with what we sell or what we do, and 20% does. The other 80% is just general business advice or motivation or discipline or consistency. But then I also share different things about my team or about me speaking at events, like things that connect the dots back to our company, but it's not, hey, Kristy, come buy my stuff.
I really felt like before having this conversation that Facebook was like a thing of the past, and this Facebook group thing is a thing of the past. Obviously, you've just busted that up. If 80% is still coming, is it coming from the Facebook groups? And do you post in groups? I know you have your own group, or is it coming from your main page, or is it coming from everything?
I think it comes from everything. So like we get tagged on the daily in like 2 or 3 pretty decently large size Facebook groups that just are like, hey, we've used Adam in the past. He's our guy, or we're currently using him. Go use him. So that's all organic, right? And then from there, there's just more attention and eyeballs on my social media. Yesterday, a guy reached out and he's like, hey, I've been following you. And my first conversation with him was in 2020. And now he's like finally going to come on as a client almost 6 years later.
And was the conversation about business in 2020?
Yeah. He was like, hey, he had just started his company in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. For whatever reason, it didn't move forward. We talked again in 2022. We talked again in 2024. And every single time he was like, hey, thanks, but no thanks. I just don't have the budget for it. Now his company's grown exponentially. And he's like, hey, now's finally the time that this is going to work. But that's the impact of doing it consistently over the years. And then like today, we just got off a call, which will be one of our largest clients, that came from this guy posting, hey, I need a Google Ads specialist in the home services space. And 5 people all tagged me. Like there were other people that got tagged too. So like part of it is other people going out of their way and doing it, or like, so there's so many different lines in the water that come through Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so remind me again, how many years have you been doing this consistently on Facebook?
Almost 6.
Yeah. That's not a long time to have that. I mean, that's pretty damn fast.
Yeah. Well, and I think simultaneously with that, it was that approach, because like, there's a lot of marketers that I know that have been around doing this way longer than I have. And they don't get the volume that I get, but they're like known, right? They're known because they've been doing it for 15 years or 20 years or whatever. They just don't show up as consistently as I show up on social media. And then with that, they do the typical marketing posts. So at some point, right, like if you've been doing it for long enough and you just keep shoving your product down people's throats, like they're going to buy from you maybe at some point. For me, it was like I was sharing the story of in 2021, I literally started the auto glass company from one of those websites I built in 2018. And people were like, wow, this is cool. Like he's clearly an expert, quote unquote, at this. If he was able to start a company and he's never replaced or repaired auto glass in his life before, and he's just generating all these leads. And we sold that company last year, which was a cool thing to have everybody watch over the last couple of years of that happen. And then now we own equity in a roofing and outdoor living company in Long Island, New York, through a lot of the same strategies. So I look at it as I was able to condense the amount of time to build my authority by consistency, but by also just doing it differently and actually showing results on like, hey, I have my own skin in the game here. I'm not just a marketer. I'm a business owner that has a digital marketing agency, but also has these other wings to it.
Yeah, no, that's so incredibly important. Now, do you, like you said, it's a blessing and a curse to have 80% of your leads coming from Facebook. You know, the fear is what happens if something happens to Facebook and there's no presence. Do you consistently drive people over to some type of other subscription that's free, like an email, a lead magnet that would come, via email, so that, gosh forbid, something were to happen, you still have contact with them? Or do you get them on other platforms, or do you do anything?
Yeah, so we have the email, which is primarily like our big value driven thing that we send out once a week. So everybody that's came into our funnel now is on that over the last 2 years. So like that's a place. I have a lot of these contacts in my phone, obviously, as well. And then there will be people that obviously like text us this morning. I got a referral, just, hey, a group text. Hey, Adam's the guy that's doing our website and SEO and paid ads. Here's my buddy that also owns a contracting company. Can you guys schedule a call? So there's offline stuff there too. And then, yeah, all the different platforms that are out there exponentially kind of, I would say, like, not necessarily build its own authority. They do, but like they compound the authority. So people will see me on Facebook. They'll then see me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. But I mean, we got a lead this morning as well from YouTube. He was like, hey, I've been watching your YouTube content for a while. Want to schedule a call. So we're very diligent on like the tracking. When people fill out forms on our website, we're trying to drive as many people to our website to fill out forms and book calls, because the DMs can obviously get very lost as well. Yeah.
No, that's great. I remember the late Jessie Lee Ward. I don't know if you know who that was, but she said, listen, I just, whatever platform you open, I want you to see me, whatever. And that never left me. And I thought, I can't do them all, but at least in the beginning, I can copy what I'm doing or watch what's doing good over here, and then just, paste it over here, so that I'm starting to figure out like the LinkedIn thing. That's a whole nother beast for me that I've been working on, but it just seems like that one's a lot slower than Instagram has been and Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah. What advice do you have for like the person who's just getting started?
Yeah.
Feels overwhelmed.
So I would start small and be consistent.
Yeah. Like one platform.
Like one platform, yeah. Right? And it's easier now to do more platforms because of all the tools and technology. Like it was not out there easily back in the day to just go post to everything when I first started in 2020. But I would even say that I wouldn't even follow that. Like if I had to go back and do it, I probably still would just focus on Facebook, knowing what I know now, because that was the catapult. And it's also what built my consistency and authority. So a lot of people, because there's so much technology and software and information and access out there, they try to consume and do too much too early. And then they get overwhelmed and like, hey, this doesn't work. The second thing I would say to that is go into it with an open mind and the mindset that it is going to be hard. And I don't mean hard by like, oh my gosh, yes, you got to think of content. I mean hard by the fact that you may post and nobody likes it. And I've had my algorithms go up and down recently. Like I'm technically on paper getting way less engagement and reach than I even was back in 2020 for whatever reason. But it's not that everybody that looks at my post likes, shares it, or comments. But I hear about it. They tell me offline. They send me a Facebook message. Hey, I want to sign up. How can I book a call with your team? So you're going to go through this like up and down thing, but it comes back, and this is what a lot of people say out there is like, choose your hard. Your hard is, hey, I can go post content and reap the rewards at some point from that, or I can take the easy, comfortable route and just like not do anything. But your heart is going to be that you're not going to have the brand and the authority that you could have otherwise built.
Yeah. How many times have you landed a new client? Somebody has reached out to you and you're like, I didn't even know you were here. I didn't even know you like.
Oh, I mean, all of the time. Like it's,
Like, they don't like anything. They don't share anything.
Yeah,
like you had no idea.
Probably like less now, because I'm like even the guy yesterday, like it was kind of like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that guy. We've talked multiple times over the year, but I haven't seen him like comment, share anything at all over the last couple of years. So like there are those like aha moments and reminders where you're like, I forgot about that.
Yeah. You just gotta, you just stack the days, right? You just stack the activities. Like, I'm just doing this. This is my scorecard I'm going to post and kind of forget about it. I don't want to get too far in the weeds of SEO because I'm going to get lost, frankly. Yeah. But, in general, can you talk a little bit about websites, building a website, how important it is to have a website that's designed a certain way? I know that there's all this like AI stuff that can be allegedly designed, which I mean, I'm sure they look pretty, but are they functional? Like, what do you say to that person that's going, wow, this looks really flashy and this looks really inexpensive. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
Versus hire an agency.
Yeah. And so I'll even go back because like what we're seeing now with AI is basically like what you used to be able to do on like Wix, Squarespace, or GoDaddy.
Okay.
Except for those websites looked really bad because they were drag and drop and they were easy, website done in a day or a couple of hours. AI is just making all of that stuff look better. And so with that is depending upon where you're at in business and what your goals are. And I talk about this a lot is like, if you want to go that AI route and all you need is a landing page or a brochure and you don't need it to rank or generate leads on its own, it's going to be completely fine. You're better off doing that than investing money in a high-end website.
So like who would be a person that would be okay for? Is there any business out there that you can think of or a stage of business that would be okay for?
Yeah. So if you're between a rock and a hard place, hey, I don't have the money to go invest right now, but I need something. Maybe you're a new business, you're struggling, your current website is built on Wix, Squarespace, or GoDaddy and it doesn't look good, and you want to spruce it up a little bit, that in and of itself is probably going to be just fine. Then on the other side of that, if you're in like a B2B space and or you have a nationwide basically pool of opportunity, it's going to be really hard to rank there without just a ton of SEO. So you can go do it. It's just going to be a lot more expensive and take a lot longer than most people even understand. So in that regard, the better route might just be to get something up super nice and easy to look at. But where a lot of people go wrong, and this is where people would go wrong even investing in it, like you can invest in a very, very high-end website on WordPress, which is what we build on. That is the gold standard when it comes to ranking on Google and all the different search engines that are out there, the LLMs. But if it doesn't have the technical behind the scenes SEO stuff, it's basically like you just bought this shiny new car, but there's no gas in it, there's no engine in it, or you have it parked, in your garage and you never drive it. So there's a mix, right, where you can have a nice looking design, but you have the engine behind it that has all the SEO stuff built from the forefront. And then what we're doing is we're stacking SEO every single month.
Yeah.
So we're writing new pages of content for the website, whether that's location pages, service pages, combination of those, blogs, FAQs, etc., backlinks, press releases, posting to the Google Business Profile. There's a lot of things that go into it that you have to consistently feed the beast, no different than if you were going to the gym and trying to lift heavier weight or lose weight. It's a process and a system.
And speaking of AI, I'm seeing a lot of these AI thought leaders out there talking about like, oh, if your business is not being recommended by AI, like that's going to be even bigger than Google Ads or Google ranking. What are your thoughts on that?
People are crazy.
Yeah. It's not a real thing, or it's not.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, like, so the thing with AI, right? And the thing with all of this stuff that's out there is all of those people that you go and look at, and I'm friends with like quite a few of them too. And I know the backstory on a lot of why these people are going and posting these things is because they were in the agency space, or they were in the coaching space, or they were in all of these other spaces, and they saw a quicker opportunity for cash. And they also saw the opportunity that, hey, this is going to eventually like phase out at some point, because people are going to realize like, this is not a thing. My chance to make money is right now. And their businesses, their marketing agencies, coaching, masterminds, whatever you want to call it, were struggling and failing. And so they looked at it as, hey, this is the easier thing for me to go do, to pivot, to chase the dollar and go do that. That's what not a lot of people are talking about, because most of the noisy people are just pushing their AI agents or their prompts or their courses or their whatever. I did a case study about a couple of weeks ago on like 81,000 leads that we generated from our clients over the last 12 months, mostly in the home services and contracting space. And then 2 other large softwares with way more leads. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of clients came out and did a similar study. And we've generated, of all of those leads, less than 1% of those came from AI sources.
Wow.
And their softwares and their case studies, they were all between 1% and 2%, like max. Some of them were even lower than mine. And so with that, the usage is going up. Like, don't get me wrong. It's like growing way quicker than what you've seen with Google. But at the same instance, not a lot of people, in the grand scheme of things, less than 1% are making buying decisions on there. That's just the reality. So I look at it as another social media platform, right? But they are getting information on it. Don't get me wrong. And yes, they can do, like, we have clients that sell roofs from there, or outdoor living projects. Like, it is a thing, but it's not something to go change your entire strategy to go do all this stuff. Albeit our clients who are getting those leads from ChatGPT or Claude or any of these other places, they're also ranking in Google. And we're not doing anything differently on that. So a lot of people are selling this new thing you have to do, when in reality, it was just really, really good SEO to begin with. But it's all, unfortunately, it's all scare tactic, and it's getting really hard to even just get on social media right now, because there's so much AI talk and there's so much AI everything. And it's coming from a lot of the wrong voices, unfortunately.
You're not stuck. You're just not operating at your next level yet. You already have the ambition. You already have the capability. What you don't have is a way to access it consistently. That's what Unleashed is designed for. A 12-week high-performance system built in 3 phases. First, alignment. We get crystal clear on what you want for this season of your life and remove the friction standing in your way. Second, activation. We build the systems and standards that turn clarity into consistent execution. And finally, acceleration. We lock in momentum so results compound without burnout or backtracking. Together, we remove the friction, rebuild your execution, and create momentum that actually lasts. If you're ready to stop tapping into your potential occasionally and start living there, go to unleashwithkristy.com. If you're hearing this after that, you can join the waitlist for the next one. Keep rising, my friends. You're so much closer than you think. I see it too. It just seems like the ones that are like, they keep pivoting are the ones that are pushing it. It's like, it's the new latest, greatest, whatever it may be. And to your point, if it is trending that way, certainly something to keep an eye on. But if the back end engine is SEO, then why not just focus there?
Yeah.
And play the long game.
I think with that, right, again, it's going to grow. Like, so in that study too, and I made the post about, I said, hey, there's more people still using or converting off of, our clients are getting more leads from Bing separately and Yahoo separately than all of the LLMs combined.
Wow.
So it's like, hey, are you going to go change your entire business for Bing? You're going to say, no, that's outdated. Now, with that being said, obviously the LLMs are on this like up and up thing, but they all have different algorithms too. So, And there's always a new LLM that's coming out there or a new update or whatever. So I look at it as there's so much stuff. There's so many different things that are out there that we have to try to figure out what's working and what's not, and not just chase what people think is happening versus looking at the data, knowing what's happening.
What's actually happening. Yeah. Absolutely. Can you talk to me a little bit about, I know you and I are both fans of Go High Level. I would imagine that you're using it at at a larger capacity than I am right now. But I have to say, as a solopreneur that is not tech savvy, this thing has absolutely changed my life in terms of like the dashboard and having everything in one place and seeing where people are coming from and running Facebook ads and just, everything that they've clicked on. And again, I've just started to use it. What are your thoughts on Go High Level, and how are you utilizing it in your business with your clients?
Yeah. So, I mean, Go High Level has changed the businesses for a lot of different industries because it's kind of like an all-in tool that has all the different automations. I mean, even when we switched over to it back in 2020, when it originally came out, it was like we got rid of like 7 different tools and put it all into one.
Yeah.
So from the efficiency standpoint and the price point, you really can't beat it. And then from there, it's huge for a lot of our clients. Like we do custom build outs now for our clients that have nothing in place. And just the automations of like the text messages and the emails and the missed call text back. Like there's so many different things that for businesses that we serve that it's like game changing for them because they were still using pen and paper or Excel sheets.
Yeah.
So for our clients, it's just been absolutely so impactful to really turning their operations into a scalable system versus doing so many things manually. But for us, we've looked at it as like, hey, we're going to use it really, really well ourselves. So we used it for like 4 years ourselves before I said, hey, I'm going to go sell this as a service or go do any of that stuff. I think even like when you and I originally talked about it, I was like, hey, there's so many new things in here. We're relaunching the agency. We're trying to figure out like what to do ourselves. And like, we haven't even fully promoted it to the masses yet that we're doing some of these things now because we're taking care of our existing clients and doing it for our own business. So it's opened up my eyes to so many different things as far as technology and AI, because they're always adding new stuff and it's really difficult to keep up with.
Yeah. I feel like when they first started, I have all my memberships over there now too. And I thought, well, there's other platforms that I feel are prettier, but yeah. I just felt like every time I opened Go High Level, there was new features and they were just building this thing so fast. You could tell there was just such an infusion of focus and development and money into this thing. And I'm like, oh, it's going to get prettier here pretty quickly. And everything, I still can't believe that I pay $99 a month for all of these things. Like seriously. And I did a video the other day and I was like, okay, so I have Rachel, who's absolutely amazing. And she's in the Philippines. But every now and again, I'm poking around in there and I want to send an email myself and I get myself in trouble. And I hope this never goes away. But the fact that I can hit the Zoom help button and I can tell them what I need help with. And within minutes, I'm in a waiting room. And then I'm talking to a live person who's sharing a screen, telling me and they'll stay on there with me as long as I need to get this thing done. I thought, there's really nothing. I wish American Airlines, I was on the phone with them twice yesterday for 45 minutes. I was like, gosh, if you guys could just get somebody to build Go High Level, this whole thing would be, I'd be done. We'd be done over here.
Game changer.
Yeah, absolute game changer. Adam, you said that you left a partnership early on. Can you respectfully, I don't want to ask too many details about that, but is there anything in general that you could tell people that are starting a business that may want to have a partnership that, it is nice to think about going to work with somebody every day. And I know that when I left corporate, I had a partner that I no longer have. I've had to learn some lessons along the way, but I'm just curious, what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to go into a partnership?
Yeah. So some pretty valuable things that I learned. So I've had great partnerships. I had a partner in the auto glass company that we just exited. Awesome. Have 3 partners in the roofing and outdoor living company. Everything's going great over there. Where everything kind of went wrong previously where there was 3 of us is there was a lot of things going on. So I went from franchisee, merged my franchise in with a massive 6-figure check. I turned over my entire business to get more equity inside of everything. But there was not due diligence on my end to understand everything that was going on behind the scenes. Like there were some red flags that I should have not ignored. But there was also plenty of stuff going through the whole legal situation of like things that were blatantly hidden from me on purpose. Right. And I was probably too naive or just didn't want to ignore it. I see the best in people. I wanted to make it work, and it could have worked if all the stars would have aligned, it could have. But forcing something that doesn't need to be forced is probably the biggest lesson. So I had grown this franchise. I was the number 1 franchise, won franchise of the year, all the years that I was there, and light years ahead of the next largest franchise. And so in that, there were so many different things behind the scenes that were happening. And I felt like I couldn't do what I had done and continue to go do it. Meaning that like I felt like I needed somebody else, and they were kind of telling me, Adam, you need us, we need you, all whatever. And it came down to the fact that I kind of forced it of like, hey, I don't think I'm capable of doing this. So it also really helped me understand that a lot of times we think that we're not capable of something, that we have this self-doubt or we have this imposter syndrome, and we think that if we just go do this with somebody else, everything is going to get better. But it usually creates a lot of complexity if the roles and responsibilities aren't aligned, if your vision versus their vision are completely different. It's like a marriage, right? And so you have to make sure that like everybody is on the same page and there's no what ifs going into it. So those would be some of the things. And then the other thing is like trust your gut. I didn't trust my gut.
At what point? Oh, you did. At what point did you get the first twinge that like?
No, I mean, I knew it. I mean, like to be honest, like everybody that I went to also told me like, Adam, I'd be careful. But it was kind of one of those weird things where it was like, hey, I'm kind of in this. And like, I share all of that to say, if I didn't do it, I would have never been able to get out of my franchise agreement otherwise, which ended up being the loophole that I was able to get out of all of this and then go do my own thing. Because I was the largest franchise with the most amount of revenue, I just had to lose everything and that cash and then go rebuild it and get a little bit of a payout. So a lot of people are like, Adam, like, 1, why did you do it? But 2, aren't you like so pissed off? Aren't you mad? I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I didn't want that to happen. I didn't go into it with that mindset of that was going to be the end result. But at the end of the day, like, I knew it. Like, I'd be lying if I would have told you otherwise. But I was so scared. It was also like in the midst, June 2023, our son was born in September of 2023. So I looked at it as like, hey, I kind of want to go be a dad and for the first time and put that hat on. And, you know, again, I was also running away from a lot of stuff, like running away from hard and running away from responsibility and thinking that this partnership was going to solve all of the issues that were going on. And it was like, no, it was just the wrong situation. And I had to learn from it. Yeah.
But you learned, right. And you wouldn't be here. I wouldn't think that this thing would have turned out as strong as it did if you didn't go through that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember I hired a marketing company a couple of years ago, and about halfway through this thing, I was like, oh my gosh, they're asking way too many questions. I think they're going to steal my information. And they basically stole my program. And then they launched, I won't say his name on here. He's very well known, and then they launched an event, and I was like, wait a second, this was inspired and then they had the audacity to like ask me to come speak at the event. And I'm like, and part of me was like, well, yeah, I'm going to go defend mine. And then I'm like, well, no, because that means I'm going to give you more of my, I was so confused. But to your point, if I hadn't gone through that, then I wouldn't have just really realized that I need to remove all the distractions and figure out what my own messaging is and what I want to do. And it's really not on anybody. Like, nobody knows what I'm capable of and what's inside here more than me. And And we just have to let that stuff go, because it's if we carry that, then all it's going to do is fester and eat us up inside. What would you if you had some advice to some entrepreneurs out there? I know that was a pretty big lesson, but any other advice that you would give a new entrepreneur?
It's going to take longer and be more expensive than you plan. I think I've learned that in multiple different aspects of business, and also working with businesses too. Like I've worked with over 500 companies in the last 6 years. And even like, let's set aside, not even just talking about marketing. Let's just talk about like growing the business in general. Everybody always thinks it's going to happen quicker or faster or more efficiently or less expensive than it does. And so go into everything, obviously, with the plan. I'm not saying have a plan B to say, hey, I'm going to go pivot or go do whatever. Don't do that. What I'm saying is give grace in the process. Understand that, yes, you have this plan, but when the plan doesn't work, it doesn't mean you go into a completely different industry. It means you have to analyze what's gotten you to this point and then go figure out how to revamp that plan for your goal. But it's typically going to take longer and be more expensive than you originally planned.
And how do you stay? So you seem to me like you stay incredibly emotionally neutral. Is that true? Or is that what I'm just picking up? Do you get upset by these things? Do you get disappointed? Do you get angry throughout the day from any of the stuff that's happening? Or because you seem like this to me.
So I would say for the most part, I am. Like, I would be lying though if I told you if I wasn't shook by a lot of stuff of what's happened. And then also years ago, if you would have met me, I would have showed up as a completely different person. Meaning that like I am very good at making sure if I'm going to be on this podcast with you, this is my attention right now. Whereas distractions, whatever was going on in the outside world used to consume me, and it was all I would think about. And then secondarily to that, I don't know if this is like right, wrong, or indifferent. And right now I'm working with a therapist and a mental health counselor and like all these other things, is like investing in coaching and getting around the right people to help not just build me up, but make me to have the capacity to handle some of this stuff, I think is exponential, that I didn't do years ago. And then with that is I'm almost numb to some of this stuff now. And again, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've seen so much and I've been through so much that if there were things that happened yesterday or tomorrow and they happened to some of the magnitude of things that would have happened years ago, it would have wrecked me back then. And I don't know if I would have been able to overcome it. To whereas right now, I was like that would have been tough years ago, but like I've already been through so much. I just got to figure out how to get through it, because at the end of the day, you can get through it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all that information. I don't think people understand what it looks like to really have mental toughness and fortitude. And that if you're not intentional and you don't build the architecture for yourself, you're really not going to have it. People just don't, we're not born this way. We have to seek out the information and go, okay, where do I need to be stronger or better? And you may not even know where those areas are, but somebody else knows where they are. If you can just put yourself in the right place and be curious to go figure it out. Can you talk a little bit about what does your circle look like? Who are the people that you hang outside of the staff that you have? And I feel like the longer we're in business, the more people there are on staff, right? You have multiple coaches, therapists, all these people that really help us see ourselves in different ways and rebuild the areas that we want to rebuild. But who's in your circle? Like, who do you hang out with? Who do you get advice from?
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate in the workspace that I'm in right now. I moved in about 2 months ago. I've been a part of a travel and business club. It's like a private club here in St. Louis. And a lot of the people that are up here on a daily basis, even that don't have a co-working space in the back, like, we're all in very similar stages of life and business for whatever that looks like. And so I love it now because I'm literally in it every single day. Whereas I used to only come up here maybe once a week to do my podcast or whatever else. Now I'm around all of these people. And for me, I tried the in-person networking back years ago, like we talked about earlier, and that wasn't for me. And then like the BNIs and all the random stuff. And then I did so much of it traveling across the country again, like I did medical device sales. And then this year, I think I've only left twice, which is awesome because I used to leave twice a month. So for me, it's been like finding all of the awesome things that I've had online. Now finding it in person has been exponential, but still so many of the people that I've met through the online space, have also obviously met in person over the years, have really helped me. But I'd say like most of where I'm spending my time is here in my backyard with the people that I see every single day. And it's been pleasantly impressive because I've been in other co-working spaces before where it's not necessarily the same mindset of people, but when you get around the right people, it makes all the difference.
It sure does. It sure does. Well, I can't thank you enough for giving me 45 minutes of your time to share with my audience. Where can people find you?
Yeah. So the best place is going to be Facebook. That's where most of the stuff happens. You can find me, Adam McChesney, on Facebook. You'll see me with the red shirt on. We also have our free Facebook group, Builders of Authority. I post daily digital marketing and personal branding.
Great group. I'm in there. Love it. Met some great people in there too.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And then you can also go over to our website, buildauthority.com. So buildauthority.com, that's where you'll find all the information about our company.
Now, I know that I've asked you, and I almost on my knees a couple of times, if you're ready to open up into the coaching space yet. You focus on, tell us again your industry. Who do you help with SEO and digital marketing?
So mainly contractors and home service businesses. We also have quite a few real estate investors as well.
Real estate investors.
But those are kind of the main categories that we work in.
Okay. All right. Well, and I appreciate how you turn everybody else away that you know that it's just not your thing. You haven't quite figured it out and you have your niche. So I appreciate that. Although I'm very sad, I still appreciate it.
I appreciate you and thanks for all the support and thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here.